Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Mandy coming to you live for a college football update show. I want to thank all of my loyal viewers for being with me here tonight. I'm not going to be here very long. I got about 3 games on the card I'm going to talk about. Of course, you got the big double main event between Clemson and Texas A&M, and then the Saturday night real main event between LSU Texas. But I am going to talk about those two, but I'm also going to talk about Cincinnati versus number 5 Ohio State because there's a lot at stake in that game as well. So I want you to bear with me here for a few minutes. I'm not going to be here very long, but I want to talk about them. And then if you want to leave any comments, I will be more than happy to share them with you. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start it out with Cincinnati versus number 5 Ohio State. This game is going to be very special for a lot of reasons. Number 1, Luke Fickle, the former Ohio State assistant, actually served as a coach for the Buckeyes for 1 season back in 2011 when the Buckeyes were pathetic after the Jim Tressel tattoo gate. Yeah, I'm sure all y'all remember that. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a happy but sad homecoming for Luke Fickle. As a former coach of the Buckeyes, now he's the coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats, and the Bearcats are coming off of a big 24-14 win over UCLA. Head coach Ryan Day, he knows Luke Fickle. And here's the thing. Ryan Day said, we're going to be focusing a lot on offense. Our offense needed some work. We may have corrected those kinks. Now, the defense, they did very well. Ohio State's defense only had 12 tackles for loss and 4 sacks in their victory over Florida Atlantic last Saturday, 45-21. So here's the question. Who has the advantage? As it stands right now, Ohio State is a 16-point favorite to beat the Cincinnati Bearcats. But I'm going to be fair to you. I can see the Bearcats giving the Buckeyes a run for their money. I really do. Because think about it. Luke Fickle, a former Ohio State assistant, he knows the Buckeye football program better than anyone. He could be the one that could pull off an upset. A lot of people do have this game on upset alert. Well, what will happen there? That remains to be seen. But here's the deal. Ohio State has a really good chance against Cincinnati. They're a 16-point favorite, like I said. And the Cincinnati defense did very well, too. They had 6 tackles for loss and 2 sacks last Thursday night, against UCLA in their 24-14 victory. Quarterback battle, who has the edge? Well, some people say Desmond Ryder, 18-26, 242, 3 touchdowns, INT, 1 interception last week against UCLA. Now, Justin Fields went 18-25 for 234 and 4 touchdowns. However, he did carry the ball himself 12 times for 61 yards and had a touchdown on the ground. Now, that's going to be the quarterback battle. Now, there hasn't been much to brag about. J.K. Dobbins did have 21 carries for 91 yards last week in a touchdown in Ohio State's victory over Florida Atlantic. Michael Warren II, 26 carries, 92 yards and a touchdown in their victory over UCLA. Now, right now, this is a big game. I know it's early in the season, but I'm going to tell you right now, I can see Ohio State having no problem with Cincinnati. Now, grant you, I think the Bearcats will give Ohio State a run for their money. There's no doubt in my mind on that all the way to the end. Now, that's Cincinnati, Ohio State. That's the 12 noon game on ABC. All 3 of these games I'm going to be talking about are on the ABC network. That's the 12 noon game on ABC. Now, the 3:30 contest on ABC. Number 12, Texas A&M. Number 1, Clemson. What can we expect? 1 year ago, Clemson barely escaped with a victory down in College Station, 29-27. What can happen this time? We'll have to wait and see on that. Kellen Mound, last week. Now, let's keep in mind, Texas A&M beat Texas Southern 41-7. Kellen Mound did go 19-27, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he did have an interception. Now, Trevor Lawrence, he's picked up right where he might have been a little bit shaky. 13-23, 168 yards and a touchdown. He was picked off twice last Saturday against Georgia Tech. Now, Clemson did beat Georgia Tech easily, 52-14. And like I said a minute ago, Texas A&M beat Texas Southern 41-7. Now, A&M's defense, if they want to stop Trevor Lawrence, they're going to have to do it real quick. And Travis Etienne, I haven't forgot about him too. 12 rushes, 205 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, the Texas A&M defense is going to have to find a way to stop Travis Etienne. That's going to be the big deal. the run game. Can the Texas A&M Aggies defense contain the run game? But let's think about this for the A&M defense. Last Saturday against Texas Southern, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. The tackles for loss are going to have to be 8 or 9. They're going to have to stop Etney at the point of attack, and they got to sack Trevor Lawrence at least 4 or 5 times if Texas A&M wants a shot at it. Now, as far as the running back goes for Texas A&M, Isaiah Spiller, 7 rushes, 106 yards last week in their victory. Now, a lot of people are saying this game is going to be won by Clemson by at least 16 or 17. I cannot support that, and here's why. Grant you, Clemson had 632 yards total offense last week. That was against a horrible Georgia Tech team from a year ago. Let's see how they do at home against Texas A&M. Last year, in College Station, Clemson escaped with a victory, just barely. And also, too, the Clemson defense only had 8 tackles against Georgia Tech. They had 8 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. And here's the deal. Clemson coach Dabo Swinney said, "I'm aware of what happened last year. Our defense will be ready. We have a great quarterback, and we're going to have a great game." A&M coach Jimbo Fisher has already said, "I will be ready for this game. I will not be surprised if it comes down to the final seconds, like it did last year. But I'm going to tell you right now, I got my defense ready. I've already told them, do not take your eyes off Etney and Lawrence because those are going to be the 2 biggest threats that we have in the ball game." So let's keep that in mind. Okay, let's move on to the big main event Saturday night, 7:30 on ABC. Number 6 LSU versus number 9 Texas. This is going to be something very special. And let's see. Oh yes, Joe Burrow, the former Ohio State quarterback, 23-27 last week, 278 yards and 5 touchdowns, in LSU's victory over Georgia Southern, 55-3. Texas, last Saturday, they beat Louisiana Tech 45-14. Sam Ehlinger went 28-38, 276 yards, 4 touchdowns in the game. For LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 9 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Not very impressive. Keontae Ingram, 11 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Those 2 are going to have to get at least 100 yards if they want to win. Something's going to have to give. One of those 2 is going to have to get 100 yards rushing if they want to win the ball game. Now I'm going to be very honest with you. It may be the run game again. The defense for LSU, last Saturday against Louisiana Tech, 5 tackles for loss, 1 sack. LSU needs to understand that they're facing the Texas Longhorns. Now, the Longhorns are in the Big 12, and everybody knows in the Big 12 conference, the word defense doesn't even exist. And I'm not lying. Think about last year in the Red River Shootout. Texas beat Oklahoma 48-45. Mike Stoops gets fired as defensive coordinator on the following Monday. And here's the deal. This could be a game that it could come down to who wants it the most. Right now, LSU's only a 6-point favorite, and that I agree with. This game is going to be a battle of who wants it the most. Texas coach Tom Herman has said, LSU is a very tough team. The SEC West has a lot to prove. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to prove that the SEC West is weak. LSU coach Ed Orgeron said, Texas is a great football team. They got a great football coach in Tom Herman. If we have to get them to play defensive football, we're going to do everything we can. But we realize we're facing a Big 12 team. In the Big 12, the word defense just doesn't exist. Well, at least Ed Orgeron gets it. Everybody's thinking this game's going to be a shootout. Because let's think about it. High-flying annex, LSU, they can play that kind of football. Texas, they'll air it out. They'll try any high-flying annex, anything necessary to win a ball game. Sam Ehlinger is the best quarterback they have. But the only difference this time, he doesn't have his buddy, Lil Jordan Humphrey. That's the sad part about this whole thing. But we'll see what happens anyway. And with the LSU defense, they had 5 tackles for loss and 2 sacks against Georgia Southern. LSU's defense is going to have to find a way to stop the run, and they're going to have to find a way to sack Sam Ehlinger if they want to win this football game on Saturday night. All it boils down to, and here's the deal. If they can do that, LSU's got it won. But if Sam Ehlinger goes pass happy, the Longhorns are going to win this ball game because you know the word defense does not exist in the Big 12 Conference. Sometimes I feel like it's a basketball game on a football field. That's how a lot of people think here in the United States. Every time I watch a Big 12 game, let's see how many basketball plays the football team can pull off. I know I'm being a jerk. I know I'm being a little bit of an idiot about it, but it's the truth. You want the truth, I'll give it to you. And that's all there is to it. Now, before I go, I know this is a very short video, but there's only like 3 big games on the card this weekend. Before I go, the SEC West with LSU and Texas A&M, they have a chance to prove something. They can prove that the SEC West is stronger than ever outside of the state of Alabama. However, the state of Texas has something to prove. The Texas A&M rivalry does not exist anymore, sadly. But here's the deal. The state of Texas can prove themselves with 2 big victories. Texas A&M, if they knock off Clemson, it's going to put a lot of the doubts to rest that the SEC West is strong. If LSU beats Texas, LSU can prove that the SEC West is stronger than ever outside of the state of Alabama. But if Texas beats LSU, what will happen in the run of the national championship? I know we're only going into the second week of the season, but there's a lot of things that need to be answered. What will happen Saturday night? Do you think what do you think will happen on Saturday? Do you think Texas A&M upsets Clemson? Or will Clemson come out on top? The game is in Clemson. It's not in College Station. Keep that in mind. However, Texas A&M lost by 2 last year in College Station, so they want to measure revenge. But what about the Texas Longhorns? A lot of people picked them to win the Big 12 title. They got a tough test against LSU. The state of Texas has a lot at stake this time, not just the SEC West, but I'm talking about the Big 12 as well. And the SEC West, if LSU beats Texas and Texas A&M upsets Clemson, then it will be proven that the SEC West is very strong. If Texas A&M and Texas win their games, the state of Texas will be proven that that's the place to be in college football. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for taking this short time with me. Thank you so much for being with me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, and you'll click on subscribe, and you'll see all the videos I have done so far. Thank you so much for being with me. I will have my next college football video on Tuesday. It is going to be the wrap-up show, where I'm going to give you the weekend wrap-up from the very best guy in college football. Thank you so much for being with me. You guys have a great night, and God bless. Good night, everybody, and thank you.